Luna's announcement hit like a wrecking ball. One moment, she was standing in the harsh glow of courtroom lights, jaw clenched, hands cold, surrounded by whispers of betrayal and scandal. The next, she dropped a revelation that turned every head in the room. "I'm pregnant." The words echoed with precision. They weren't shouted, but they didn't need to be. They were sharp enough to cut through marble. Bill Spencer froze mid-sentence, jaw locking with disbelief. His son, Will, standing beside him, took a step back as if physically struck. Just moments before, they'd been seething. Luna had stood accused, the evidence against her damning, the trust she once had with the Spencer family obliterated. What she'd done, what she was accused of doing, had been unforgivable in Bill's eyes. But now, everything shifted. And that's exactly what Luna wanted. Or was it? The courtroom buzzed. The judge called for order, but the damage was done. Word spread fast. By the end of the hour, every fashion blogger in Los Angeles, every whisper network on social media, and every clickbait headline in the entertainment press was spinning. Luna pregnant with Spencer heir, baby bombshell in courtroom. Ploy or plea, back at the Spencer estate. Bill sat in stony silence, swirling a glass of bourbon he hadn't touched. Will stood by the window, staring out at the city. Neither said what they were both thinking. Was this real? Was Luna truly carrying a Spencer child, or had she just played the ultimate hand to escape the jaws of justice? Elektra, already circling the story like a hawk, wasted no time. Her PR team launched an aggressive counter-narrative. They released time leaks and named sources claiming Luna had been seen buying a pregnancy test just days before the court hearing. Too convenient. Too staged. And just like that, the narrative turned. Speculation ran wild. "The timing is too perfect," declared Variety. The Bold and the Beautiful. Behind the Scandal podcast ran a 3-part special dissecting every frame of courtroom footage, slowing it down like the Zapruder film, analyzing her body language, her tone, her choice of words. And then came the smoking gun, or what Elektra's camp claimed to be one, a whistleblower from a private clinic, alleging that Luna had requested a test kit simulation, paying in cash under a false name. There was no proof, yet. But the Whisper campaign was already viral. Luna's pregnancy, real or fake, had already become a weapon. Bill was backed into a corner. He'd spent a lifetime building Spencer Publications into an empire on ruthless instinct and sharper timing. He wasn't a man who dealt in sentiment. But this was different. Luna wasn't just a threat, she was now tangled in his family's bloodline. Or so she said. Behind closed doors, his advisors begged him to cut ties, send her away, set the record straight, distance the company from the controversy before it tainted the Forrester alliance beyond repair. But something stopped him. Maybe it was Will's silence, or the way Luna, even under fire, didn't flinch. She never begged. She never broke. She simply stated the fact and let the world collapse around her. Bill called her in. The meeting wasn't scheduled, wasn't announced. Just a simple message: be at the Malibu house. Midnight. No press. No security. She arrived wearing black, her expression unreadable. Bill stood by the fireplace, arms folded, eyes locked on her. "Is it mine?" he asked. Direct. Cold. Luna didn't blink. "Yes, prove it. I will. But not today. Not like this." That was when she made her move. Not just to defend herself, but to twist the knife. "I'm not the only one who's going to be judged," she said. "Whatever decision you make now will follow your legacy. You exile me, you exile your grandchild. You let Elektra frame this story, and you'll lose more than just my loyalty. You'll lose the only chance you have to write a different ending." Bill didn't speak. He simply stared, weighing the cost of every possible outcome. He had two options. One, exile her, quietly force her to leave Los Angeles. Cut a deal, pay her off, bury the story. Clean house. It would be swift, clinical, but it would also feed Elektra's narrative that Luna was lying, that the Spencers knew she was lying. Or 2. Keep her close but under strict, humiliating conditions. Force transparency. Demand a full medical timeline. Paternity test. Psychological evaluation. Daily check-ins. In public, it would look like support. In private, it would be surveillance. But even that was a gamble. Because if Luna was telling the truth, Bill would have chained the mother of his unborn child to a prison of suspicion and control. And if she wasn't, then he would have dragged the Spencer name through months of scandal, only to find himself betrayed again. Will finally spoke. If you believe her, then protect her. If you don't, then end it now. But don't sit on the fence. Don't drag us all down just because you're afraid of being wrong. The words stung. Because they were true. Still, Luna said nothing. She let father and son fight around her. Let the flames grow. Days passed. The media storm grew fiercer. Elektra went live with a sit-down interview, tears and all, painting herself as the victim of a cruel manipulation, how Luna had weaponized motherhood to avoid consequences. Elektra's footage went viral within hours. Meanwhile, Luna disappeared from public view. Speculation exploded. Then came another shock. Luna resurfaced in front of cameras standing on the steps of the Forrester building. No lawyers. No PR team. Just her. I will submit to every test, every inquiry, every camera, she said. I have nothing to hide, but I will not be silenced. I am not going anywhere. It was a declaration of war. And now battle lines are drawn. Bill, still undecided, faces mounting pressure. The Forrester board demands answers. The Spencers are divided. Will has privately warned his father that any move from here on out must be final. No half measures, no more games. And Luna, she plays the long game. She knows that once the test results are public, the world will either crown her as the mother of the next Spencer heir or crucify her for the lie. There is no in-between. Behind the scenes, Elektra isn't waiting. She's gathering allies, plotting her next strike. If Luna wins, Elektra loses everything and she knows it. But what none of them expect is what Luna is really planning. Because in the end, this isn't just about survival. It's about control. And Luna's pregnancy, whether real or not, is no longer just a defense strategy. It's a revolution. Hope said yes. It was the one thing nobody saw coming in the middle of chaos, heartbreak, and betrayal. While the world around her burned with rumors and regrets, she gave Carter Walton the answer that changed everything. A quiet yes, sealed with a look that silenced every doubt in the room. Not even Brooke knew how to react. Rich didn't hide his hesitation. Steffi didn't even try to fake support. But it didn't matter. The ring was on her finger. The decision was made. Carter, loyal to a fault, strong in all the right ways, had waited long enough. He had stood in the shadow of every man who left hope shattered, Liam, Thomas, and all the what-ifs in between. Now, finally, he was the one standing in the light. A man not broken by the past, not tangled in legacy drama. For once, Hope wasn't choosing out of desperation. Or was she? The moment the engagement was made public, the reaction was immediate and ferocious. The fashion world turned on its axis. Headlines screamed, Forrester to Walton, help Logan engage to Carter. Paparazzi followed her every move. The engagement party wasn't even planned yet, and already the noise began. But noise wasn't just from the press. It came from inside. Thomas, watching from Paris, didn't say a word publicly. But his silence was louder than any statement. Privately, he'd been working on a comeback collection, something bold, unexpected, and unlike anything Forrester had approved. But after hearing the news, he accelerated everything. His designs, his team, his intent. It was no longer about art. It was war. Meanwhile, Steffi called for an emergency board meeting under the guise of reassessing branding directions for Hope for the future. She denied it had anything to do with Hope's engagement. But no one believed her. Not when she questioned how a future Mrs. Walton would fit the image of Logan independence. Not when she quietly floated the idea of a new face for the line. Carter knew all of it. And still, he pressed forward. He wasn't marrying Hope for approval. He was marrying her because they fit in all the places where life had broken them apart before. And Hope. She was tired of waiting for the men in her life to figure themselves out. Carter didn't hesitate. That was enough. Plans moved fast. Invitations were sent. The venue was confirmed, an open-air ceremony in Bel Air, modern, sharp, with elements of tradition. Not a grand cathedral. Not a beachside fantasy. Just steel, glass, and roses. Every detail curated by Hope herself. Every piece of the puzzle scrutinized by the media. But no wedding in this world happens quietly. It started small. A photo leak of Hope trying on dresses at the Forrester studio. The angle was flattering, but the caption was not. Hope wears couture that should have been Steffi's. Days later, another leak this time. Carter's tax-fitting reveling a design Thomas had sketched 2 years earlier. The implication. Hope and Carter were building a wedding off stolen inspiration. Then came the sabotage. One morning, Hope's PR team woke up to an anonymous tip sent to Ion Fashion, a voice recording of a past conversation between Carter and Quinn, back when their affair nearly wrecked his credibility. The message was clear. Carter's past was not behind him. It was still bleeding. The damage was fast. Commentators questioned Hope's judgment. Why marry a man who once destroyed a wedding just like this one? The headlines didn't care about context. They cared about scandal. And that's when Thomas struck. His team unveiled a surprise bridal capsule, coincidentally launching the same week as Hope's final fitting. Every piece was modeled by Paris Buckingham, lit like a goddess, styled with perfection. The collection, branded the future reclaimed, was bold, minimal, and breathtaking. And one of the gowns, nearly identical to what Hope had chosen. It wasn't theft. It was timing. Strategic. Brutal. Brilliant. Hope didn't flinch publicly. She posted a photo of her ring the same day, captioned only, "Still standing." But inside, things were cracking. Even Ridge, caught between his daughter, his loyalty to Carter, and his complicated history with the Logans, began to question whether this wedding should happen at all. Brooke defended her daughter, but her speeches fell on ears trained to doubt. Then came Zoe. She wasn't expected, wasn't invited, but she showed up anyway, first at the boutique where Hope was finalizing accessories, then again at a Forrester meeting. She claimed she was only visiting, but her smiles were rehearsed, and her compliments about Carter reeked of old jealousy wrapped in sugar. Hope confronted her in private. "You don't get to be a part of this," she said. "I was part of him long before you were," Zoe replied. "Just remember, people don't change. They just hide better." The line stuck. On the eve of the wedding, the storm reached its peak. Elektra, not content with attacking Luna alone, dropped a bombshell blog post titled "The Business of Vows." When fashion gets political, the piece dissected Hope's wedding as a strategic play, not a love story. She implied that this marriage was about optics, about securing power in a fractured Forrester hierarchy, using Carter as a buffer between Logan legacy and professional instability. It went viral. Carter wanted to pull the plug. He hated seeing Hope shredded, but she didn't back down. "They want me to break," she told him. "Let them watch me rise instead." The wedding day arrived. Cameras lined the gates. Drones buzzed above the floral arches. Guests whispered predictions about who would object, who might pull a stunt, who might crash the ceremony outright. Paris showed up, smiling too brightly. Zoe lingered by the back row. Thomas was nowhere to be seen, but his designs haunted the day. Elektra sent a floral arrangement, black orchids, and a note that read, "Break a leg." Brooke held Hope's hand before she walked down the aisle. "You don't have to do this to prove anything," she whispered. Hope looked ahead. "I'm not proving anything. I'm finishing what I started." The ceremony began. Every vow spoken felt like a statement. Every guest's gaze a vote. Every second heavy with implication. When Hope said, "I do," it echoed like a gauntlet thrown. When Carter kissed her, it felt like a declaration of war. The applause was scattered, but it didn't matter. The wedding wasn't just a union. It was a takeover. And now the real battle begins.